Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
I address you tonight as a citizen of humanity. We are faced with the very gravest of challenges.
Welcome back, everybody. Another episode of Live from the Plantation, and I'm Spartacus 2.0, a.k.a. Jerry Metcalf, and with me, as usual, upstairs across the gallery on his prison phone is Lucifer 777. Today we're going to be discussing spirituality in prison, effects it has on our lives and lives of all the others around us. Want to start us off, Seven?
Yeah, I can start us off, Brody. I'm gonna start with what spirituality means to me personally, and then we can go ahead and discuss topics on that too. I mean, spirituality, to be spiritual, you have to become conscious that we are two-part beings, body and soul, right? The spirit being the soul. It's important because a lot of us deal with the physical, right? Metaphysical is it's intangible, and we only believe in the tangibles, right? If it's not physically in our face, we really don't have faith in it, right? But we already know the world is way deeper than that, right? There's unseen things that exist in real time, right? But we just got to pay attention to the small things, right? But it's life undifferentiated. We haven't discussed this, man, you, Jerry, but you don't know my views on religion. But I think religion stagnates, and spiritual growth more important than religion. Even though your religion is your foundation, more important than religion, right? It boxes you in. Religion boxes you in. Spirituality, it frees you. It opens you up.
Yeah.
It does. You already know. I see you on the yard doing your Reiki and stuff like that. So I already know, like, your spiritual, you tap into your spirituality.
Sure.
Definitely. So, what I would like to ask you, I would like to propose the question, right? What, brought you on your spiritual journey?
What brought me on my spiritual journey? Man, that's a good question. Well, prison well, we all know it's a dark place.
Most definitely.
There's a lot of very spiritual people in prison. Throughout history, just think of all the masters that you think of. Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha. They all went through something really, dark. They went through a tough period, and
most definitely.
I think the toughest periods are the periods where we get the most in touch with God, in whatever form and however you view God. I believe that the darkness is when you seek her out the most. I should point out that I think of God as a duality, like God. The male is like the other, like the part where you think of like heaven, where the souls go to reside when they're not in the physical. I think of God, the female, which is goddess, as everything.
Creation of everything.
And it is everything. Like this phone that I'm touching, universe, the planet, the Earth, all the planets, everything. That's goddess, the female god. So that's what I worship. So I believe that females bring life. So back to the spirituality thing. How did I get there? I'd say a little bit at a time. I've studied every religion, and I'm with you. I'm even a little more extreme than you. I don't believe in organized religion. I believe it's just a crutch. I believe it's a way of controlling human beings. I don't believe that Don't get me wrong. There's probably many good people that are in organized religions that are running them, but a lot of them have their own agendas and they believe you have to think and act like them. I believe in just a connection with God.
That's what anything that control the masses. People get in that power, and they, you can see you can move crowds, and they want to do it. They want to use their own agenda.
Yeah, of course. I mean, and again, though, that's human nature. If you look,
Yeah.
We're herd people, and there's always going to be somebody that tries to move up and control the herd. You have leaders and followers, and some leaders just abuse that power. And in religion, I think it's more popular. Well, probably religion and government officials. They're the ones that are the worst.
Yeah.
I think the people that seek out those jobs are the people that are just power hungry.
Right. Narcissists, egotistic,
Yeah. Not all. A lot of them probably wish to be servants, but it is what it is. But spirituality, back to the spirituality. For me, it was a slow trickle. Built and built and built and built. And I watched other people over the years turn from like grumpy people into these beacons of happiness, and I just wanted to be one of them. I pray. My life revolves around my spirituality. My spirituality doesn't revolve around me. I believe that everything takes place for a reason. So that's why I'm always happy. I pray. You see me pray I pray a lot. I love praying. I love being in contact. If I have a question, I just ask God. I'll ask her. I'll say, hey, what do I need to do? Sometimes she answers me directly. And yeah, it's a voice. So if some people are going to say I'm crazy for saying that, but it is what it is. That's what happens. Then sometimes she answers me indirectly with, by showing me something or just leading me down the right path.
Always answers. You always answer your prayer. All right. So yeah, I wanted to pick up where I left off at. Right. We gotta finish. Hold on. That's on my throat. God always answers your prayers, man. It's in the little things, right? You don't need to ask why God. You just have to pay attention. Right? I'm proud of myself on paying attention to the nuances. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that my own personal belief, right? There's nothing you can do wrong. God, your God, He's with you all the time. And yes, I'm sure He's, pay attention to the nuances and stuff. But I believe that He's going to support you and love you, no matter how you chose to live your life or worship Him. And I say that as long as you're not hurting anybody else. My motto is, as long as you're not hurting anyone else and you're happy, I support you. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing, though, right? It's always a setup, right? It's always a setup for you to be at your best potential, right? For you to be the greatest human being as you possibly can be, right? So, with prayer alone just don't get you the answers, right? It's the start. It's the application, right? It's the act, and you get that initial thought in your head. And say, for instance, right, I want to go to school, right? But I'm a procrastinator, or I don't wake up. I can't stomach being up early, stuff like that, You have to take the initiative to be up. You have to take the initiative to, all right, I'm going to get this out the way first before I do such.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same with prayer. You got that initial thought in your head, then you act on that.
Well, yeah, for sure. You have to be open. I'll give you a great example of the way that I see life. So I did I did an interview on Joe Black's podcast. Remember that?
Yeah. Thoughts Beyond the Walls.
So, yeah. So I really enjoyed it. I had fun. I was really nervous, but I had a lot of fun, and I thought to myself, hey, I want to do a podcast. So I prayed about it, and I started seeking out people to help me, and I couldn't find nobody in the free world that was willing to help. Then out of the blue, right? Out of the blue, the Red Zone, Portia sends me an email and asks me, hey, would you like to do a podcast in our pilot program? See?
Okay.
So I'm with you. If you're open to whatever you want and you're tempting everything you can, then yes, I believe the universe will pull to you or bring to you what you need. I mean, listen, it brought us this podcast. I asked her.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because I asked her. I said, "What made you want to choose me?" And she said, "Well, I was just reading I was scrolling through something. I ended up somewhere reading a couple of your articles, and I thought, hey, this guy kind of thinks the way that I do, and I'll send him an email and see if he responds." So,
you know what I'm saying?
Right. That's God working through her, or through us, through all of us together. You know, it's like a symphony.
Through all of us.
God,
sure.
Listen, she's the best. What's that person that stands up at the top of the symphony? The orchestrator. God is the best orchestrator ever.
Yeah. The maestro.
Maestro, yeah, that's the word I was hunting for. The maestro, or is it a maestra?
Yeah.
I think it would be a maestra for me.
The maestro.
You know?
Maestro.
Yeah.
Well,
I think maestro is male.
I think God is genderless. God should be genderless, though. We shouldn't put a face or a pronoun. We shouldn't put a face or a pronoun to God because it encompasses all things, right?
Yeah.
It should just be it or the thing, you know?
Yeah, that's for you. That's I respect that. I see it a little different. You know, like I said, I see it as a duality.
Definitely.
Because here's my whole, I believe that God existed in singular form at one point before the Big Bang. There was nothing but God. You know, the other, the place that we think of. And then God decided that it wanted to experience something other. So it, basically split himself in half, and that's where you get the Big Bang. Bang. Now we have the whole universe, which is God, the goddess. And that's how we got life. That's my own personal beliefs, you know.
And that's crazy, right? You and I, you think the same, right? We're the same sign and stuff like that. And we talk a lot about it. And I believe something similar to that, right? I believe that God wanted to experience life, right? And it's all things. God is everything, right? So how can you experience something less than you if you don't create something less than you? You know? So it splits itself apart and instills its essence inside a man, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I believe the same, and that's where the soul comes in. It's that little sliver of God. God is in you. It's that little sliver of God. You listen to it.
No.
All your answers. You know what I'm saying?
Not even a little sliver. Yeah, you're right. Okay, yes,
yeah.
You're right. So the soul, that's the part of you and the other. That's the soul is the giant part of it. So if I'm this little tiny human, I have my soul, just a tiny sliver of it pokes through the veil to attach to me. But behind that, if we could look through the veil, my soul would be massive. So,
most definitely.
And it is. You're right. We're all God. So we are all connected to God. Listen, if everything is God, in my belief, if everything started off as God, and then God split itself into those other things, we're all still God. We're all still parts of God. I mean, this
is crazy, right? I think because it comes from darkness into light, right? But I think it might sound a little crazy, but I take the 5%er approach. For all y'all don't know what the 5%er approach is that we are God, essentially, that we are God, right? Because we have that piece of God in us, and we're able to do as God does, right? And I always think that we're a divine part of the divine being, right? So I I'm going to explain in depth, right? If you go to the ocean, right, and you take to the ocean a cup, and you dip that cup into the ocean, right? Does that cup not have the same components, the same minerals as the ocean does? It's a piece of the ocean, right? It's just out of the ocean. It's in another vessel, right? So I like to say this. I just talked to my auntie the other day, right? And I was telling her we was discussing the same thing, right? And she was alarmed when I said that. All right, I am God, right? She's like, why would you say you're God? I'm like, a lion can't. If a lion made with a lion, a dolphin doesn't come out, right?
Right.
So if I was made in God's image, then I am less God. I'm not the great, but I am God nonetheless. I was made in His image and likeness. He took a piece of Himself, itself, herself, and put it into me.
Sure. I agree 100%. But I always say that. So we are. I don't say it. I just don't say it in a pompous fashion. I humbly say that we are all part of God. We are all still connected to the source. I run around saying that all the time. I tell people, somebody says they feel bad. I say, well, get over here next to me. I'm connected to the source. You're gonna, I say it jokingly, but I mean that shit.
Most definitely. But you already know. You already know, man. He created all things, man. Sure, man. All things are created, man. All things are created because of how we're gifted. We're the only beings that operates off free will, right? Everything. I can't say that we have free will. It's a deeper meaning to it. You know what I'm saying? Our control. But
yeah. And 7, don't forget this. We're the only beings we know of that operates off free will. Because keep this in mind. There's a billion galaxies, and every galaxy has a billion suns in it, and every one of those suns probably has 1 or 2 planets rotating around it. So that's trillions of opportunities for God to have sprouted life.
To work this one.
And I'm sure it's out there. We got to do it. We're going to do an episode on aliens because that's going to be sweet.
Yeah. Because we got a whole bunch of ideas about that. We only stay at 1% out of 99% of our universe.
Yeah.
So,
shit. Do we understand 1%? I bet it's less than 1%.
I don't. It's probably a fraction of a percent.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. I don't really know it, but we. Huh?
I said, just look how fast science changes. It changes so quick. Like one day a theory, shit is rock solid. Yeah. The next day that shit is totally. Oh, that shit was wrong. We had to start over. Or we got this new formula or this new theorem or whatever. It overshadows that. So.
Yeah. Most definitely. We gonna get to it, man. Oh, so I want to ask you this next question, right? Do you think struggle is the catalyst to spiritual enlightenment?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Because that kind of goes back to like being in prison. Yeah, you know what? I will say this. I'm grateful for coming to prison for many, many reasons, but the one I'm most grateful for is my connection with God. And you're right. Yes, the struggle is real. Definitely the struggle increases that. I mean, when you're beaten down, when you cry out for help, that's what you're doing. You get spiritually beaten down, and you start searching for something other. You're like, okay, like for me, I'm like, I believed I was going to die in prison. Of course, I'm at the end of this long prison sentence now, but at the beginning, I thought, oh my God, I'm going to fucking die here with all these fucking raping maniacs and all this other shit. But so you start to search out, okay, what's the next phase of life? You got to prepare yourself. At least that's what I was doing. But God, she kept telling me, no, you're not going to die in there, motherfucker. You hold on. I'm going to get you out, and you're going to go. I didn't believe her at first, though. I refused it.
And that's why I say, right? That's why I brought it up, because I think that struggle, you have to embrace struggle, right? Everybody don't they don't like being at the bottom, right? But when you're at the bottom, there's no other place you can go but to the top. You have to excel, right? So I think you're supposed to, when you down, don't wish. Really sit down. Really sit down and think about it. Think about what got you to this point. Think about how can you climb yourself out of this hole, and really strive to be more than what your lowest point. You know, you try to be more than your lowest point. Yeah, struggle. Struggle can be in the light. You know, like I was saying before, when you had left. I was saying that when you at your lowest point, you should embrace it. Always embrace your lowest points. You'll appreciate your highs even more. Just like here in prison, right? We stuck surrounded by walls. We surrounded by darkness. And most of us like this design is designed to break you. You know, they implement, they put everything in play to break the human spirit as well, fracture your mentality, your mind, you know. So yeah, you know, so when you're alone by yourself, and essentially you are surrounded by a whole bunch of people, but you are alone, because when you go back and count times and you go like looking at walls, God speaks and you speaks, you should, you know, put forth that energy and really like reevaluate your life. And that's what we all come to.
Yeah, I think at them low points, that's when God's lowering you down the lifeline. You know? And all the worst moments of my life, absolute worst. At that moment, I thought, oh my God, this is all fucked up. But as time went on and I looked back at those moments, those worst moments were turning points, or something really, really good came out of those moments. Like I often talk about when I was laying on that, you know, the solitary confinement floor waiting to die. A lot of great things came out of that one moment of my life. Yeah. And obviously coming to prison changed everything for me for the better. And I've said it many times, and I'll say it again. I'm sorry that a man lost his life, and all the pain and suffering that I caused my family and his family and everybody that was involved in the entire incident. But for me now, I love the man that I am. God loves the man that I am.
It's only right. Hey, it's only right, because you still have not reached your greatest potential, but you're on your way. You're walking, you know what I'm saying, the path, you're walking straight and narrow.
Yeah, we're on the path. And even if we don't reach it in this life, we're going to get a lot closer in this one than we did in the last one.
Most definitely. That's what spirituality does for you, man. Put that battery in your back, you know.
Yeah.
For sure, man. And that's all.
Like,
it's great, man. Yeah, definitely great. You got greatness in you. You know that, right?
Of course, you do too, man. I'm proud of you, man. I love you.
Definitely, man. Definitely. You're a good friend of mine, man. I enjoy being in your company.
Look at it like this, Evan. Look at how happy we are every day, and how we live life enjoying it every day. And there are people who are free, who are miserable. Their life, they live every day. They could have all the money, they could have cars, houses, whatever the things that people think are popular nowadays. I don't know what it is, but they could have it all.
Yes.
And I get emails from them all the time. They'll read something I wrote and they'll say, how the hell are you happy in there? I get them all the time. I just got a whole bunch of my postings from, I see, and I read these things and I think, man, I feel so bad for these people.
That's crazy though, but you can, and that's crazy. I hate to cut you off for a minute, but this is important. You have the tools to get them out of that funk, that darkness, right? Because they are prisoners in their own mind. They out there in prisons. Their mindset is in prison. Their lifestyle is in prison, right? They might be in prison in a marriage, in any type of work relationship. They might just be in prison dealing with mental health or a mental condition, right? So we know these things because we experienced the prison, and we know how to break the chains,
Break the chains. That's right.
That's you know what I'm saying? So now we have to equip those people with those tools, or show these people the light, because we have been shown the light.
You're right, and I try my best to do that. Mostly, I try to stress that everyone should love each other. I know it sounds hippie-ish, but everyone really should love each other. I try to love everybody. Even people I can't stand, I still love them.
Definitely.
And if I can't stand them, I don't go around them, but I love them from afar.
Because you love them because they created. Your God created
That's right.
them. You see the
Right.
potential in them, right? And you should lead everything with love. You shouldn't lead nothing else. No prejudge, no misconceptions, none of that.
No, of course not.
It's always be love.
I agree 100%. I don't judge anybody for anything. Hey, remember, back to our earlier thing. If we're all God, I am them, they are me. So if I judge them, I'm judging myself. I'm just judging. It'd be like me judging my hand for being the hand.
Yeah, right. And you can't be judging. You can be judging the worst part of you because you think that person is, is not as enlightened as you, or hasn't found the path that you found.
And I think we're all, well, at least I'm prone to some of that. I have to catch myself, because I do catch myself. I do. I'll be like, yeah, Jerry, I'll catch myself thinking something like that, like, man, this person should be further along, or they were doing good and they backslid, and I catch myself kind of criticizing in my mind, and I try to check that. I try to check those thoughts, but I do have them. I'm fucking human.
Yeah, we all have them.
But I've learned to not feed those. Oh, like, remember when you told me about the wolf? What did you say about the wolf? You got a wolf and something else. You got to feed one, and
yeah.
Remember what you told me? Something like you got a wolf and something else, and you got whatever one you feed is the one that's going to grow. I've learned not to feed those things. So I kill them. I yank them out by the roots as soon as I catch them.
Definitely. You water those seeds. You put those seeds. You sow those seeds. You water them, and they grow.
Yeah, bad seeds too, though. Like if you water the fucked up seeds, you're going to get fucked up crops.
Any seed.
Yeah. Water the good seeds, you're going to get good crops. Holy shit! We're speaking in ghetto parables.
we farmers. We farmers, bro. We farmers. We reap what we sow, man.
Hey, there's people are going to listen to this and be like, they're going to be like, these two motherfuckers are going to hell.
Hey, ain't no such thing, though. No such thing as heaven and hell, right?
Right. Of course not.
You had those devout. Yeah.
Go ahead. Go.
Go ahead. No, but I was about to say, you'll have those devout Christians, or, those religious, buffs. It's like, man, you're going to hell, or there's no such thing as hell.
Yeah. You get the devout any religion that you rattle off, they got the super crazies they believe that only their shit is possible, and they're going to tell you you're going to go to hell. Like, I use heaven as I say heaven when I mean the other place, because I want people to kind of try to have some type of frame of reference. I just call it the other, or the void. That other place,
right?
Because the human mind can't comprehend that there's something other than the physical. Like our universe is expanding. It's expanding okay.
Seconds,
vastly
right
expanding, but what is it expanding into? If the universe is everything, how the fuck can it be expanding? It's expanding into the other, which is what I refer to when I say that. So scientifically, that gives you a little you can make kind of picture, something like a balloon blowing up is the universe, and the shit as the balloon spreads that it's spreading into is the place that is the other, or heaven, or whatever you call it. But there is, right, no heaven, no hell, no place where you're going to be punished. If God is if created the entire universe with the billions of galaxies and billions of planets, do you think that he or she or it would give a flying flip that you did something that you consider, that somebody considers morally wrong, and they're going to send you into brimstone and fire for eternity?
Right. It's all things. It's all things. Right. It's nothing that you can conceive, nothing that you can think of that it haven't thought of, that it haven't experienced. Right. So how can you be mad at a mistake that you've made, because it knows that you will do after?
Not only that, time is irrelevant to God, because time is physical. Like, time is
it's
a
a
thing.
concept.
That's right. So God can see the end of time, forward and backwards. It knows every option, every decision you could have made or did make, and every time I made a decision to go left, I also made a decision to go right. And that shit is crazy. That shit starts to get crazy. And the more we talk about it, the more people are going to say we're insane. But
yeah, I guess we can wrap it up here now, right? Say some more.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're out of time, man. What do we do here at Live from the Plantation?
We break the chains, buddy.
Break the chains, man, spiritual or otherwise. Y'all have a good day.
All the time.
Take us out,
Definitely,
Seven.
Man. All right, man. Thank y'all, family, for tuning in to the best show. Plug in. Tune in next time, man. I ain't gonna keep telling y'all. Get there.